Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Joe from FendyDaily, and as you guys know, FendyDaily is about digital marketing content for those people who are small business owners to digital marketers who are very new in the industry. All right. So today I have a person with me. He's Andrew Wong, or you guys might know him as the email guy. And today we're going to talk about basically three different issues that we all normally have and we all normally try to solve, whether you're a digital marketer or a business owner who's running your own first marketing campaign. So the first issue will be getting the lead. The second issue is how to convert those leads. And third issue is upselling those leads. So among these issues, we will start off by Mr. Andrew, and we're going to talk about the leads first. So, Mr. Andrew, uh, so you're the email guy. You've been starting doing email marketing for years. Maybe before this, is there anything that you can want to introduce yourself to our audience about?
Oh, okay.
What
Hey,
you
Joe.
have been doing more in depth.
Right.
Than if I missed out.
No worries. It's simple. That's why I coined the name, the email guy, so that it cuts down a lot of time needed to explain.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for inviting me on the show.
Thank you.
This is going to be fun. So the thing is this. I started this at the start of COVID. I was the head of sales of a cybersecurity company. And when COVID struck, it just dawned on me that, life is unpredictable. And I also then see the trend on digital marketing. Because, and COVID just hit it home because now everybody cannot do any more physical marketing. And everybody has to so-called rely on this. And I've been testing and toying it, while I was doing sales, B2B sales, primarily. And I was toying with digital marketing and I saw this potential. So when COVID struck, that was the time, the signal that I took it to actually go out and do something on my own. And why email? Because it is the medium that I use a lot for my previous sales experience. I've been doing, I've been selling for the last 30 years, different media from newspapers to designing websites and then cybersecurity. And email is such a way that, there's a combination of copywriting. There is a technical aspect of it. I used to say there's the mechanical and there's art form. The mechanical side is the setup of the emails to make sure that the emails land in the inbox and not in the spam. The art side is the customer journey, the content, the copy, and the tracking stuff that you do in the email. And if you do e-com, you can then add a lot more graphics and all the stuff inside. So generally, it's a nice medium to play with. And because I hate writing long form articles, emails allows me to write like 300, 400 words and still get the job done.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So there you go.
There you go.
Simple.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thanks. So on your journey, I'm sure you have experienced testing out on ways to get leads, and maybe we all have our ups and downs of experiencing with low cost leads or high cost leads. Even some season has low leads and high leads. So maybe just the basic question is, how do we get leads?
Okay. Now, generally business, there are two forms of business. One is B2C. That means selling to many people. So your e-commerce, your consumer products and all those things, those are B2C. Then there's the other side of it is called B2B, which is you are selling to businesses. So for example, if it's cybersecurity, you're selling to banks, and all those things. For example, in my case, my email business primarily is B2B. I sell to business to help businesses generate leads. Okay. So generally, these are these two areas of it. Now, when it comes to generating leads, there are a few ways you can do it. Obviously, you can do it the organic way. So you make organic posts and hopefully some of the posts go viral, whatever it is. Or you do the paid way, which is a lot more efficient and fast. That means you're paying for traffic.
Mhm.
Okay. Now in B2B case, you can still do the paid way, but depending on the selling cycle, because in B2B, the selling cycle also tends to be longer.
Mm.
Then you need a lot of content marketing to back this up over time.
Mm, mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
So in your case, I understand when we were offline just now,
mhm.
you were looking at customers with regards to B2C.
Yes, that's
Okay.
mainly my client.
Right. So in B2C case, cost per lead is one of the issues, and you run Facebook,
Yeah.
one of the issues is your targeting could be off.
Yes.
Either it's too small an audience or
Too
too
big.
wide an audience.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to strike that in the middle.
Mhm.
Then the second thing is reason why your cost per lead is high is because you're not getting leads. Right? So let's say you reach 1 million people and you get 100,000 compared to 1 million people and you get 10 people, your cost per lead is super high.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that obviously then once you know you're targeting, the next thing is your audience or
Yeah.
your ad copy.
Yep.
Your ad copy attracting the right people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say, "Hey, I run Facebook ads and I don't get lots of, and I get leads, but my lead quality is poor." That means you're talking to the wrong people. They may be interested. I got a client previously who were doing packaging, primarily so-called food packaging. So they want to sell to large food distribution companies. So those are B2B.
Mm.
But at the same time, he so-called ran ads to test for, he was thinking that running ads on Facebook so that he can attract companies. But in the end, what he did is attract a lot of individual home moms, individual person, because the ad did not specifically mention that they were giving free samples to businesses. So you got inquiries, or you got lists of people say, "Hey, I'm a home mom, I cook a lot, and wouldn't mind testing your so-called your eco-friendly plates and all that stuff." But if you look at it, those are not his customers.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not his ideal customers. His ideal customers are people like McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, and all those things, where they have all this packaging, stuff for their donuts and all those things. Those are the customers that he wants to attract.
Yep.
Okay. So then obviously you notice one thing is, okay, this is not related to email, but building up to that is when you run ads and people say, maybe your ad copy is right, your targeting is right, but because they don't know you, they're going to check out your Facebook page or your Facebook profile, depending on how you run it. And then they see no content. Okay, that's organic content.
Yeah.
Now the question is, because there's so many people, it's so easy to run ads.
Mhm.
Rightly or wrongly, you cannot trust the ads itself, but you want to check out, when's the last post? How active is it? What are the information they have on the website? If they have nothing, then the trust level then goes down again. So
Yeah.
you get the right audience, you get the right intent, but they don't trust you because they see you are not active.
Yeah.
So three things needs to be done. Now, when it comes to email, is where when you acquire that lead, and it is impossible for the person to immediately make that decision to do business with you, right? So Google's zero moment of truth, for example, states that you need about 7 to 11 times. You probably heard about it. 7 or 11 touch points for a person to form an opinion about you and your service and you and your products before they make a decision. Do I want to do business with you? Do I want to buy from you? Can you actually deliver?
Yeah.
Okay. So email, in this case, for the B2C segment, is used to then drip information to your audience. So let's say, for example, I run ads and you saw my ad and you submit a lead, for example, your name and email. You don't know me very well, but because I have your name and email, and every week, for example, or maybe 3 or 4 days, whatever it is, I would share information related to the context where you submitted the lead. So if I talk about, let's say if I'm selling an email service and my ad copy talks about, do you want to get leads from emails or whatever it is, okay? Then when you sign in, the emails that I sent is talking about how maybe the steps for you to set up, to send emails, to find the right people, to convert these leads into customers. So that's relevance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So email comes in as a follow-up mechanism on top of your ads. That's why it is very important now when you look at the totality of marketing.
Yeah.
You've got traffic generating, which is your ads. You then need to go through that process of indoctrinating or either so-called slow burn them into potential prospects. And email is used to do that. Why email and not mobile messages or SMS and all those things? Very simple. Email allows me to write a bit more context. I can do 300-400 words. I can add some pictures. I can add links to YouTube videos, whatever it is. When I do mobile, yes, it gets into the person's mobile phone. But if you look at current situation now, a lot of people, do you answer phones if it's a mobile number comes in that you don't recognize inside your contacts?
No, normally I just
You're never going to pick up.
Yeah, yep.
And you are not, and especially in Malaysia, for example, governments are stopping people from, encouraging people not to click on link.
Yes.
So if I would send you a WhatsApp message and say, hey, Joe, I've got this latest content and it's going to help you generate 10x leads or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And go to my website and give you a link. You are not going to do that. Right? So I can only send you basic text. And how much text can I send? I cannot send you a long text. When's the last time you actually read a long form 4-paragraph message on WhatsApp? No, it's a single paragraph, maybe not more than 50, 60 words. That's all right. So that's the limitation. But you can turn that into a complement to email. Okay, as a reminder, as all those things. So there are many ways of using this platform. So email in this case allows me not to write too chonghei or too long form kind of content, but at the same time allows me to then keep pace or keep in touch with my potential prospects. People buy for different reasons. The problem that we have as marketers is we don't really know which reasons do they buy. The only way is we can narrow down the potentials, and then we use email to drive this information. So if I run an email of 7 sequence emails, each of these 7 emails could talk about a specific pain point that could lead you to buy the same product from me. You could buy because of a cost. You could buy because of an urgency. You could buy because it's convenient. You could buy the same product because it makes you feel good. Each of these emails are designed to address each one of them so that as long as you receive and open my emails, you will read them and some of them will hit. So that's how email is being done. For you to facilitate, it cannot get leads when it comes to B2C. When it comes to B2B, yes, we can use email to get leads. Okay, so just a quick one. For B2B is this. I don't need thousands and thousands of leads. Generally, most companies at most maybe 40, 50 good leads that they can convert into customers. And they don't need a lot of leads because they can only serve like maybe 50 customers a week. I throw you 100 customers a week, your business also cannot sustain already one. So by virtue of that, when you run B2B, you only target companies that you really want to work with. And then you identify the person or persons that's going to be the one making the decision. And you use email. In this case, it's called cold email because the person didn't give you permission to send emails. Whereas in B2C, you have given explicit permission primarily because you responded to a lead. Right? So whether you want to receive it or unsubscribe is up to you. But in B2B, if I want to, let's say you're a big boss of a company, Joe at Media International, and I want to sell my services to you, you don't know who the hell is Andrew. So I'm going to send you an email to introduce myself, to build. I'm not going to sell you anything first, but to introduce myself, to trigger an interest in you, and to get you to reply to my email. Now, once you do that, now we have this conversation going. And over time, through sharing of my other contents, you'll be able to, the chances of you becoming a customer, if the offer, if the timing, if the need is right, then there's a possibility. So cold outreach for B2B is where you use it to generate leads, but you cannot use this to use B2B. In B2C's case, you don't use emails to generate leads. You use email to convert your leads into customers.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Wow. So much things up. Yeah. I just have maybe a short question because there's something that caught my attention just now. I mean,
Yes.
you were saying like you have 7 emails that you just say as an example, right?
Right.
I was just curious, is there like a frequency that you advise people in between, like maybe once a day or once in,
Normally, when you nurture you so-called send emails to nurture them,
yeah.
for businesses, maybe 2 or 3 times a week would be good enough. You send them too much, it's also tough because, unless you've got a very good storyline, your emails are entertaining, right?
Yeah.
So the 3 E's, your emails are entertaining, is educational, or is enlightening. And in most cases, businesses will find it rather tough to do it.
Yeah.
So, and most people, the bosses would like to say, hey, when I send email, can I make money immediately? It's not going to happen that way. Okay. Email is a long game. It's not a short game. Ads is a fast game. You place ads, you get leads. Now, whether the quality of leads is good or bad is another thing, but you get leads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, whereas email, you take time to, because you need to find that rhythm for the prospects. You need to segment the audience along the way. Okay. So to answer your question, 2-3 times max per week for a company would be good enough. At worst, at least once a week.
All right. Okay. That's fine. I have another question. This is regarding getting leads. I can't remember what's the term, but there are some people that when they do email marketing, they are buying the email list from other people.
Okay.
And they're blasting to their audience. Is that something advisable or?
Okay.
I have never tried that, so is that something you can?
Good question.
Yeah.
When you're doing B2C, you never, ever buy leads, buy contacts, primarily because in B2C, you are sending to a person's personal email.
Yeah.
In every country, it is a contravention of personal privacy law.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas in B2B, it is okay to acquire leads. In this case, most of these contacts are provided by so-called B2B database owners, just like your yellow pages. They go through their LinkedIn. What they do is they go through your LinkedIn profile, go through your LinkedIn page, for example, go through websites to acquire that. Now, why is it okay to buy leads for B2B? Primarily because I'm sending emails to their company emails. So, for example, if you are a company, joe@FendyDaily.com. Okay, that's your business email. So I'm getting this, I'm sending to your business email. But if I send to joe@Fendi.com, Fendi@gmail.com, that's personal.
Yeah, that's personal.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the 2 things. It's okay for you to buy B2B databases for B2B business, because if and only if you're sending to company emails, because they're set up for business. Nobody's going to say, hey, I set up nobody's going to stop or not sharing their company emails. Otherwise, what's the point of doing business?
Yeah.
But it is entirely okay not to share your personal emails. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. So I know that we have talked about sales a bit, but maybe we want to talk about the follow-up in terms of the emotional side, capturing the emotional side of the audience. How do we do that?
Okay. So now let's assume your run ads is successful. You're talking to the right people, and your cost per lead is brought down because you got the right so-called audience selection and all these things, right? Market. And they submitted a lead. The emotional side is this. Remember the 7 emails or whatever emails that I do? So the 7 emails first is to try to identify and segment the audience further.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say, for example, if I want to talk about, depending on what products, if I want to talk about, let's say if it's handbag, I could be talking about latest trends. I could be talking about price, value. I could be talking about seasonal.
Yeah.
So I send all these different emails out. And at the same time, in the back end, we'll be tracking so-called their link activities.
Yeah.
So the good thing about, emails now, you can actually track link activities. So for example, if I send 3 emails, okay, let's say travel, for example. Okay, travel will be a lot more. Asia, Europe, Americas. So I don't know, Fendi, whether you want to visit any one of these countries. Okay, school days coming up, you may want to consider, okay,
Yeah.
or yeah. So what I do is, and I'm a travel agent, and now I'm going to send an email to you and give you 3 options. Let's say the first email is talking about Asia. Second email is talking about Europe, and then I'll show you some videos and all those things about Europe, a best destination of top 10 destination Europe if you happen to want to visit, for example. Then the top 10 sites or places that you want to visit if you're in Americas. So 3 emails sent out.
Yeah.
But the back end will be tracking whoever clicks on the link of Asia, Europe, or Americas. Now, by virtue of doing that, I can then further segment. So if you are interested in traveling to within Asia, let's say Japan, but you're not interested in America, you're not interested in Sweden or Switzerland, but Japan hits up and then you say, hey, yeah, I'm just, want to go to Osaka or wherever it is. And then you click on the video, you watch the video. I know now Joe is interested in potentially Japan. So by virtue of that, we then segment the audience and say, okay, my follow-up emails from then onwards could be all about Japan, where to stay, what are the things you need to look for, and all those things. Now, these emails are educational. Yeah. And it's designed such a way that to solidify you as a travel agency, that you know your stuff and all those things. So once you get this value, the next time you really want to buy a ticket to Osaka or you want to go a family trip, what do? You're going to call me.
Yep, because I'm warm up to them already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how you do the converting side, by further segmenting, because a lot of people make the mistake of blasting an email to everyone. Yeah. Then they complain, I got no response. Obviously, what?
Yeah.
If I'm interested in India and none of the emails has related to India, despite me giving indication that I'm interested in India, then your emails is white noise.
Yeah.
Right? So that's how it works.
Talking about looking at the email and how you segment, right? I only know a few metrics, but is there other metric that you look at? The metric that for me I look at is open click-through rate and link click. But is there
the open click-through rate and link clicks generally is a broad indicator of the activity or engagement of your emails.
Yeah.
Everybody can see that.
Yeah.
But the tough part, and even certain industries, I also face that we need to go deeper, is to then do the sub-segments of it. That means you want to run your email campaigns to track how many emails the person clicked related to a particular subject or topic. And you cannot just send one and assume. Because the person today is just somebody, my friend just talked about Osaka and I'm interested in Osaka, but maybe I'm not interested in the actual interest may not be there.
Yeah.
So you want to run these emails over time. That's why it's important when you send 2-3 emails a week or once a week. It gives you an opportunity for you, the frequency for you to track the engagement. So once I see, let's say, after 7 emails or 14 emails that I send out and Joe consistently click 3/4 of it is on Osaka, Japan, I can segment them already. And every other promotions, let's say I've got Mata Fair coming up and I happen to have only promotion for Americas and Europe, I'm not going to bother with Joe. But if I have something related to Japan, Joe will be the first one to receive my email. So that's how you through your list, you can actually target your audience accordingly with your emails.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's really a good tip. Thanks. maybe we come to the third question. So, I mean, once they convert already, once they buy your services or your products,
Right.
most business want to know how can we upsell them,
Okay.
upsell our service product.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's use the same example. Let's say Osaka, for example. And Joe saw an ad about traveling, click on my ad, don't know me, and through my emails and organic posts and all those things, eventually you have trusted me. And then you come and buy a ticket, become my customer, and you go to Osaka. So you're my customer now. My next objective as a business is, okay, how can I continue to get you to buy from me again? And if possible, buy more frequently from me, right? So the idea is to increase the lifetime value of Joe to my business. Similarly, when you use emails, is then the emails that I send to Joe from then onwards, because I've recognized him as a customer. The next thing I need to do is, what are the things that I could sell? It could be, for example, even during the transaction, I could sell insurance. I could sell, guided tours, whatever it is. So that can be part and parcel of your email sequence. Okay, let's say after you become my customers, can I entice you to travel to another country?
I believe so, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I can send a survey and says, hey, Joe, you've just traveled to Osaka and I hope you had a good time.
Yeah.
If given a choice or given an opportunity, what's the next country do you think you'd like to visit? So I do a survey and then you indicate, okay, I'm interested in now Korea, for example. Okay, fine. So my next series of emails, by virtue of indicating that, so I subsegment you again. The next emails or subsequent emails will be related to Korea. Right?
Yeah.
So for a real proper way of email marketing is, you need to understand your business. You need to understand the customer journey.
Yeah.
You got to be very clear about that. If the person buys this, normally what they do. If the person does this, normally what they do. So once you have that, then people like us who writes the email, who design the emails for you, for example, we can then transfer that knowledge or your knowledge into the email sequence and we build the sequence accordingly. It takes time. It's not something that you may done in a week. Sometimes, if you're not sure, then we test several emails and then we monitor, we test, monitor, and all those things. Eventually, you'll see a pattern. Yeah. And then you roll it up. Once you have this in place, then whenever your Facebook ads comes in, you're bringing new audience coming in, they will still go through all this sequence accordingly. So then you can automate the whole process. So that's how you have, it's like manufacturing. You want to build a car, initially you hand build it, then you understand what are the components that need to be standardized, and then you take a long time to build that machine floor or whatever production floor that you have, and then you test run it. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it doesn't fit, out of shape. But over time, once you have built this, now every new additional model that comes in, generally speaking, your production floor can handle them already.
Yeah.
Okay. So in email is that you build that so that you just focus on getting new people in. Your email sequence, your email automation then takes care of it. And from time to time, with new promotions and all, you already know who you want to send. Okay. So that's the beauty part. And the good thing is this, Facebook can shut you down anytime. Every one of these social media can shut you down every time.
That's
anytime,
true.
Right? But by virtue of you now having your email system in place, you own the person's contact email address.
Yeah.
Okay. You can start anytime. So if Facebook today, you say Facebook ban you for whatever reason, you can still send emails to your audience.
Yeah. It's your own database.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you use social media as a tool to talk to the masses, convert them into a smaller group, and this smaller group, you capture them into your email address, or maybe even your phone number if you want to. And this becomes your community, your asset.
Okay, right.
Make sense?
So we have already we covered getting the lead, converting them, and the upsell part.
upselling them.
Upselling
Yes.
that. Yeah. I have some little small questions also.
Fire off.
Basically,
Yeah.
talking about headlines, are there any like best practice of because headline is a very important component for open rate, especially.
Yes.
Is there a best practice that you?
For
Yeah.
me, I have two ways of doing it. Sometimes if I get an inspiration from headlines,
Mhm.
I can then write the content from there. Okay. So sometimes the headline just come in and somehow or other it gels with the story I want to write. Sometimes you just write the content first and look at the content and then see what are the things that stands out from your content that you can use as a headline. So there are two ways of doing it, top down or either so-called bottom up, if you want to call it that way. Okay. So remember the headlines, like you correctly mentioned, headlines helps with your open rates.
Yeah.
So the headline has to be there's no, if you look at templates and all those things, the thing I normally don't do templates now is because it's not relevant to the way you write, not relevant to the content you write.
Yeah.
So as a guiding principle is your headline should be an indication of what the user or the recipient or the reader would expect to read when they open up your email. Okay, so you cannot be too so-called clickbaity, for example, because if you create something that is super interesting, but when they open your email, your copy or your content is not relevant or it's not consistent with that, then people is going to just go off, right? So it is a teaser. So a teaser of what's to come. Then the person quickly make a decision and says, oh, this is relevant to me. Oh, this one I think I can read later. Or maybe this one, no, not interested. Okay, so that's how you play with headlines.
All right. Yeah. A/B test.
Yes, of course, you can do A/B tests as well.
Yeah.
Because the market, in any case, for us marketers, sometimes there is no way for us to be able to say this market, unless you, even if you are very, very familiar with the market, trends, people change, taste change. So you are correct. You can do A/B tests. If at any one time you're not sure, okay, fine. You run two headlines and see.
Yeah. That's true. The other question I have, right, is talking about just the design part of the email in terms of the visual part. I've always somewhat designed the background, use different fonts and even put visuals in it. But I've seen some people, they just use plain text from font, just a simple font.
Yeah.
It seems like from an SMS and all. Is there a reason why? I've never.
My emails primarily is almost 100% plain text.
Plain text, yeah.
Okay. There are two reasons for it. One is the deliverability reasons. Because if it's plain text emails, the chances of you landing in spam, unless your domain is blacklisted and all those things. But if you write a plain text email, the chances of you landing in an inbox is superiorly higher.
Okay.
If you add images to it, then there is a very high chance your email will end up in the promotions tab, because only promotions email have a lot of images. If I write to Joe, I'm not going to bother to create borders, put pictures and all the things, right? If you're doing business, right? So I'm going to just fire up, key my whatever text I have, and then I'm going to send to you. So the idea of email, remember, is a communication tool. It started as a communication tool. Email is 53 years old this year, and it still remains as that. So that's the main basic, foundation of emails. But when marketers come into play, then you want to add video, images and all those things. It works for e-commerce because you need to show products.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it depends on the services you do. But if you just normal services, you can have maybe just a little header, a company logo, whatever it is. But generally speaking, it is safe to go with text or a hybrid. A 60-40 split, 40% of them or the content is images, and then the 60% is text. That is useful good. But if it's 100% images, then one is the loading time could be an issue. Second thing is you're going to end up landing in the promotions tab for sure.
But who's the one that judged that they know that you're in a promotional that
Well, Gmail or the inbox, so-called inbox providers like Gmail, Yahoo Mail, and all those things, they have their own algorithms to decide because they have to protect it. Remember, for inboxes, they're protecting their users, which is you and me, using the service.
Yeah.
So if they cannot categorize them accordingly, I'm going to say, well, Gmail sucks. I always get spam.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm going to switch to Microsoft or, 365 or whatever it is, right? So they're going to make sure that the emails are relevant to you. Then they will show it to you. But for my understanding of Gmail is the moment you have very heavy images, by default, they will send you to promotion because only commercial emails would have a lot of images anyways.
Okay, that's great. That's a good tip. Is there any other like things that will get you somewhat banned on email? Maybe like being too spammy also one of them.
The step one of your email is you're going to make sure your email is properly authenticated. Okay, you probably heard, if you want, you can do a search for it. There are 3 authentication methods that people like Gmail and Yahoo Mail use to identify that the email coming from you is actually from you.
Yeah.
Okay. So one is your SPF, your DKIM, and your DMARC. Generally speaking, it's like your identification tag. You go into a bar, for example. The bouncer at the door is going to ask you either for your IC, or if it's a private club or so-called a private event, they're going to ask you for an invitation card. Yeah. So this SPF, DKIM, and DMARC essentially is your identifier, your invitation card to say, hey, this email coming for Joe is actually from joefendy.com and nobody else. So once you clear that is the first hurdle. The second hurdle is, so use the club as an analogy, for example. So you now go into the club. You get a network with people, okay? So you're talking about what you do and all those things. So essentially in the email, you're sending contents out, right? Yeah. So if you start in a club, imagine you start constantly harassing people and say, hey, this is what I do, buy this. Wow, look at my real estate, I've got this. And the person don't even know you yet. So essentially in email, you're just constantly selling, sales-related emails. What will happen? Some of them will say they will shy away from you. They don't want to talk to you. Technically, in email world, it's they unsubscribe from you.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you get too aggressive, what do? Some of the club members is going to report to the owners, which is let's say Gmail, and say, hey, this guy is acting a bit weird already. He's technically spamming me. Yeah. Gmail is going to block you. Okay. So the club owner is going to kick you out. So in email world, the Gmail is going to block you. So think of it this way. I mean, life is such, even in the digital world, is normally mirrors what happens in the physical world.
Yeah, that's true.
So be careful how you send. Be careful of the content you send.
Yeah, be careful of content I send.
Yeah.
Because I think so far I never have this issue, but there are some keywords also are quite dangerous.
Yeah.
That they will ban.
Yeah. So I think the thing is this: you are not a spammer.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't use too much of, let's say, free and all those things. But generally speaking, it's just like in communications. If you're doing real business, you use the language that you use in normal conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm sitting down with you, I'm not every day to talk about free, special, exclusive offers and all those things, right? There are many ways of getting around that. So think of it this way instead of just, because those are indication that you're just selling.
Yeah. Then if you're doing it too much, it's spam lah. And
yeah, people will report you as spam.
Yeah, I think so far I never have that, but yeah, it's scary lah once you. Once you get.
But if you do like my take is always this: if you're doing an honest business, you automatically know when you write emails, that this is getting a bit too much. You will know that, unless you're in the business of scamming people, then it becomes natural.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you will know.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's a good tip. I have another question. Like, there is some tips that people say that you need to clear and clean your database every once in a
Absolutely.
while.
Yes.
So that part actually is something that because for me sometimes I always feel like even though they don't read it in this 6 months or something, maybe next time they will read it next year. With the hope
Okay.
of that they will read it eventually.
Right.
Sometimes, yeah.
But do they open your emails in the first place or not?
Let's say no lah. Let's say no lah. So
Okay.
sometimes you get the list, but you just feel like, should I delete them? That's a
Right.
question that I have sometimes.
Okay. So the thing is, one, it costs you money to keep your list,
Yes.
right? Because when you sign up with email service providers like MailChimp and all those things,
Yeah.
they charge you based on the number of subscribers you have.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, if you are sending emails to people who don't even open your emails for maybe 6 months, 60 days and above, for example, then it will also affect your email reputation, because the Gmails and Yahoo mails of this world are going to say, hey, this email's from Joe, sent to my customers. Nobody reads one, nobody interacts one. Then obviously this guy probably, they don't need or they don't like this person. So it will affect your email deliverability or your reputation. Okay. So because you now live in a world where it's not just email. You can reach a person through social media and all those things, right?
Yep.
So it's okay for you as long as they do not open your emails. At the very least, the most baseline one, if they don't even open your emails, you should remove them after 60 days or 90 days.
Okay. Okay.
Keep your list clean this way, because you want to send emails to people engaged.
Yeah.
That means they respond, they click, they open, or they reply to your emails. Then that's how you build your reputation that, hey, emails from Joe, my customers like one, they reply and all those things. That means this guy is trusted. So it's for your own reputation that you need to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it affect, though? Like, let's say, for example, Gmail noticed that this guy has been sending 10 emails, but their user never opened it.
Right. You notice if you use Gmail once in a while, every 30 days or so, Gmail would prompt, a little notice at the top and say, hey, you have not engaged with these users. Do you want to unsubscribe? Okay. Gmail already doing that already. Yeah. Instead of waiting for you to unsubscribe them, Gmail will prompt you and say, hey, this email that you're receiving from Andrew, you have not interacted with it for the last 30 days. Do you want to unsubscribe it? Gmail gives you an option for you to unsubscribe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then that explains also, yeah.
Don't worry about, because if you produce great organic content and you're active on social, you're delivering value, they may not engage with you because probably it's not the right time and probably it's not the right offer, for example. And if you remove them from your email, you're doing them a favor because you don't want to flood their emails inbox unnecessarily. And they will still see you from other channels. And if they want, they can still engage. Then you can start the whole cycle again. Right. Not an issue.
All right. That's great. Yeah, that's a whole bunch of tips for tonight. It's really great. It's very insightful from top to bottom, from the getting the leads and converting them and upselling them.
Yep.
And all the other talking about the platforms and the do's and don'ts. Andrew, thanks for coming here on my podcast today.
No worries. It's my pleasure.
I want to promote about you also, about for those of you guys who wants to know more about email marketing. Andrew is doing that services. You guys can find him on LinkedIn, and you guys can also go to his website ends.digital. Right. Yeah. Is there anything?
Follow me on LinkedIn, because I post my latest stuff there. And the good thing is, we can interact from there.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's easier that way.
Yeah. Once I do the video, you guys can see Andrew's link in the description or in the comments. Okay. Andrew, is there any last thing that you like to say and give advice to small business owners who haven't started running their email marketing
Okay.
campaigns.
Think of email as your automated salesperson,
Mhm.
specifically to do follow-ups at the very least,
Mhm.
because it gives you an opportunity to keep in touch with your prospects and also your customers. And the good thing is email runs 24/7. Your salesperson or your physical salesperson got 9 to 5 one.
Yeah.
They got weekends one, they got leave one, whereas in email. So once you set it up correctly, anybody who interact with your business and gives you your email address, you have automation running. So the person could come in at 2 o'clock in the morning while you're asleep, but your emails are still performing for you. So at the very lowest level possible, use email as your follow-up agent or follow-up salesperson.
Right. Thanks, Andrew.
All
Thanks
right.
for being in my podcast tonight.
My pleasure.
Yes, guys. So please do follow Andrew on LinkedIn. All right. Thank you and see you
All
guys
right.
again.
Thanks, guys. Take care.